What's going on, Salt Strong Nation? I am here with my buddy Stuart, and I am at Mudhole Custom Tackle. In today's video, this is kind of a part one of a part two video. We're gonna take a look at the slot machine blanks. They're coming through Mudhole for quality control assurance, and then they're gonna go out for a production build out here in the United States. And we're gonna kind of talk about what that process looks like. But before we dive into that, just kind of an overview. This project has been in the works for maybe 18 months. Luke and I have been working with Stuart and Todd, one of the rod designers here at Mudhole, and a bunch of other people to come up with what we believe to be the perfect inshore fishing rod. Now, a lot goes into that. We've tested probably close to a dozen prototypes over the past 18 months.
At least.
I've caught my personal best redfish on this rod, my biggest trout of the year, and a bunch of other really nice sized redfish in Mosquito Lagoon over this past year. And this process, it takes a long time. It's a labor of love. We've looked at different types of graphite, standard modulus, intermediate, high modulus. We found a blend of all three that's right for us. How much of that material, where is this material located in the blank so that we get the desired action we want, we get the desired weight that we want, and it has the durability that we need. So these are all things that we consider as anglers, and these guys are the pros. They're looking at blanks and designing rods all the time. We're happy to say that this rod is intrinsic to Salt Strong. This is a labor of love, baby, that we're finally bringing out and can share with all of our insiders. So in this video, Stuart and I are gonna go over, and George behind the camera, another buddy who's very knowledgeable about all the QC aspect for blanks. We're gonna talk about what you guys look for to make sure that blank is to spec before we pop on components, guides, reel seat, butt section, epoxy, everything. So what's up, man?
What's going on?
You've got a couple of blanks here. We got a box. We're getting in batches all the time before we ship them out to be built.
Right.
What is the first thing, anytime you guys open up the box, what's the first thing you look for to make sure that we can start, breaking down this rod and make sure it's good to go?
Very basic, but very important stuff. We start with just the dimensions of the blank itself.
Okay.
We want to make sure that when they cut these blanks off, that they're cut to the exact length that we asked for. So these are 7/6. We want to make sure that the cutoffs are nice and clean. We'll throw a tip gauge on the tip to make sure that the tip size is right. We'll throw a gauge on the butt end to make sure that the butt diameters are all nice and consistent on all of these. And that's a start, just to make sure that dimensionally the blank is right.
Okay, so step one, making sure the specs are there. Step two, what do you look for? I think we talked about, is it straightness of the rod or how straight the rod is?
Exactly, right. It's, again, sounds very basic, but altogether important. So we're literally just gonna take that blank, hold it out in front of us, and look down the length of it and give it a twist and make sure that we have a nice, even, straight rod.
And I kind of want to reiterate that because this sounds like there's a human aspect to this. These are custom built rods from the ground up,
right.
From the blank to putting the components on. It's a labor of love. We're not always popping this on a machine and trusting the machine to be right. We're inspecting every blank. We're making sure that this is not going to be a manufacturer defect issue. Before they go into build out, we're going to inspect them when they come back to you guys and before they go to customers. So there's a lot of hands-on aspect to that. And it was just kind of nice to know that it's as simple as we look at the blank and make sure that it's straight. And I say that because I have seen upstairs, I've seen some rods that were projects that were just, prototypes and demos of other things in the works where a blank had a little bit of a squiggle in it. It kind of looks like a snake, or like the blank had scoliosis. And it was just a sample from other projects, but I don't see that, and I don't think you guys see that in production rods on the rack in any tackle shop, because it's something that you look for. It does not pass QC. So rods need to be straight as an arrow before they start popping components on. So what's the next thing that we look at? We've got sheared off clean tip and butt. We've got length and weight. I think you said the weight of the blank is 2 ounces?
Right, we're looking for a 2 ounce weight. Again, if there's any blanks that are a little bit more, a little bit less, it may indicate a little bit of inconsistency, and that's not what we're looking for.
Good to know.
So check for that 2 ounce weight. And then we'll literally just take the blank and feel the length of it. We're gonna work down the length of it, kind of squeezing and squishing, I guess, for lack of a better term. And what we're looking for here, Justin, is soft spots. And a soft spot will usually indicate over sanding in certain sections of the blank.
So on any fishing rod blank, you'll notice it on a small amount of fishing rods out there on the rack. Most graphite rods are sanded down, but when they're in their raw form or there's a raw blank, it kind of feels like this sandpaper, cat tongue kind of feel. And there's some pros to that, but aesthetically and feel, I think a lot of anglers are used to this smooth sanded down blank. But in that process, someone could over sand a blank, there could be scratches or mars, there could be a physical divot that you feel, or an aesthetic divot where you look and say, that doesn't look right. That could potentially be an issue, and we catch those blanks before they go into final production.
Absolutely, that's exactly it.
So what about making sure that this blank has the right action that we want before it goes to popping the guides on there? Like, how do you guys check the deflection of blanks?
A little bit of a two-part. First, in the easiest way, you and I have handled these blanks enough, and George has handled these blanks, everybody has, enough to know what that blank should feel like when we give it a deflection. So we're literally just gonna throw it down on the floor here and bend it out and make sure that that's the action and the feel that we were looking for when we designed these blanks in the original prototypes.
So, and we also, I think the part two of it is you have a custom rod building deflection graph where we can pop these blanks onto a chart, put weights on the end of the tip, and see where that rod bends to determine, is it an extra fast, a fast action, a moderate fast action? And our goal was to create what we consider to be a true fast action blank, specifically for inshore fishing. So, because intrinsic within that, there's fast action for bass fishing, there's moderate fast action for crankbaiting for bass guys. Fast action for inshore, we feel that this is the sweet spot. So that was just one of the cool parts of making sure that this is exactly what we need it to be before we pop guides on there.
Yes, absolutely. And hanging this blank on that deflection chart is definitely a critical piece to making sure that these finished blanks meet the criteria that we asked for.
All right, so that's pretty much the overview of what goes into the QC aspect of checking these blanks before we ship them out to pop guides and components and make a final product for you guys, which is what we have here. This is the final product. This is the slot machine after 18 plus months of testing different prototypes. This is what you guys are going to get. These are available over at our online tackle shop, fishstrong.com. It's what we believe to be the best inshore rod ever made. It's gonna be available to our Founders Club members. Thank you so much. You guys are gonna get the first batch of rods that come out, and then they're gonna be available to both insiders and public members, but insider members get a sweet deal on these rods. These should easily retail for over $300. If you grab a rod off the rack, you're gonna get a much better price on this if you're an insider member. So to learn more, guys, head over to fishstrong.com, find the slot machine, click that notify me when available button, because there is some high demand for this rod, and get yourself one of the best rods ever made. Until then, tight lines, guys. If you're new to Salt Strong, just know we're the #1 online fishing club out there, because we guarantee you're going to catch a bunch more fish. Not only with tips and in-depth courses, but also our new Smart Fishing Spots app. It's going to tell you exactly where the feeding fish are and when you should fish there. You're going to save a ton of money on your tackle, and you're going to make a bunch of awesome new fishing friends. So thanks so much for watching, and we hope to see you in the insider community soon.